Hello, everyone. I'm Raven from Raven Comics, and today we'll begin telling the complete story of Invincible. I plan to upload all the comics continuously, so let's start with the first video. At full speed, the hero known as Invincible cuts through the sky carrying a civilian strapped into a mechanical vest with a ticking timer. Invincible has had to cover an enormous distance in the shortest time possible to minimize casualties. But time runs out. He grabs the person he was carrying and hurls them into the air. An instant later, a massive explosion swallows them whole. The hero falls from the sky into white snow below. He gets up. He's fine. Nothing happened because he is invincible. We travel back 4 months earlier. Our hero's mother, still a completely ordinary woman at this point in time, is rushing him to come downstairs for breakfast. But our young friend is busy reading comics in the bathroom. She insists he's going to be very late. A few minutes pass and he finally comes down, ready for a quick breakfast before school. He asks about his father. He hasn't seen him since yesterday. His mother tells him he hasn't come home yet. Lately, he's been buried in work, and she has no idea where he is. Our young hero asks her to turn on the TV, and right at that moment, a breaking news report comes on. The giant dragon is attempting to enslave part of Taiwan. A blurry figure has arrived to stop him. Everything points to the hero known as Omni-Man, defender of democracy. Seeing his father on screen, our young hero finally knows he's completely fine. There's nothing to worry about. His mother hopes her husband brings her something nice from Taiwan since she's never been there. Hours pass, our young hero arrives at school, and here we learn his name is Mark. One of his best friends, William, catches up with him and asks if they're hanging out later. But Mark is busy. He has to be at work in 20 minutes. He's been at that restaurant for a while now, and he's not about to throw it all away. The day moves forward without much to remark on. Mark is at the burger joint, tossing out the trash, when suddenly he throws a bag so hard it nearly clears the other side of the city. Mark smiles. He knows the moment has arrived. That night at home, Mark and his mother sit down for dinner. He mentions he had a very interesting day. And at that very instant, his father bursts through the door at full speed. He apologizes for the delay. There were floods in Egypt, and he had to handle them on his way home. Mark's mother asks what happened with the dragon. Her husband says it was easy once he figured out who was behind it all. The hardest part was keeping the population safe. On top of being a superhero, Mark's father is also a writer, and his editor has been calling lately, asking about the progress of his latest book. Omni-Man promises to take a day off this weekend to write. He figures the Guardians of the Globe can cover for him. Mark's mother then turns and asks him how his day went. He drops the big news. He has superpowers now. The family's reaction is not exactly what you would expect. They go on eating dinner, barely missing a beat. After dinner, Mark decides to test his new abilities. If he has super strength, he probably has flight too, like his father. His father once told him that flying is a reflex, so if he jumps off the roof of the house, he'll probably just float. And if he's invulnerable like his father, nothing will happen to him if he fails. But what if he can't fly? What if he's not invulnerable either? Without thinking twice, he jumps. And just like that, Mark floats in the air. This is incredible. Days go by, we cut to the middle of the city. A robbery is underway. 3 individuals have tried to rob a bank, and one of them has superpowers. The police are right on their heels. The supervillain's stone-like body resists bullets, but that doesn't mean they don't hurt him. Before the escape can continue, a hero dressed in red and blue drops in. He moves fast, disabling the villain with a single strike. One punch, and the stone armor shatters completely. This hero is Mark. He's thrown together a makeshift costume to practice being a superhero. His father has been watching from a distance, and while he congratulates him on a job well done, he makes it clear that the outfit is a little embarrassing. Mark has been doing this for 2 weeks now, getting the hang of it. He chose this outfit so nobody would recognize him while practicing flight. But since his son has already started stopping criminals, Omni-Man tells him plainly, he can't see him looking like that out in the streets. It's ridiculous. He's going to introduce him to someone who can help. Father and son take off. Minutes later, they land at a tailor's shop. Normally he specializes in high-fashion clothing, but he keeps a secret. He makes the costumes for the world's superheroes, and Omni-Man has given him the task of making his son's very first suit. The first design is a bit flashy, bright yellow and orange. Mark isn't sure. He loves the design, but the colors don't do it for him. And the suit has these strange discs on it. The tailor explains he added those because he initially assumed Mark's father's powers came from the sun, solar absorption discs. Omni-Man clarifies that's a common misconception, but that's not where his powers come from. At that moment, Omni-Man's communicator goes off. There's an emergency in the city. He takes off immediately. Mark and the tailor are left alone. Mark is used to his father disappearing and reappearing at random. The two of them continue talking about the suit. Mark still isn't convinced. He wants something iconic. The tailor says that's always the case. Everyone wants their suit to be iconic, but nobody knows what that actually means. Making an iconic suit is complicated, but he's going to put in the effort. For that, he needs to know what Mark's superhero name is going to be. That's what he'll base the design on. Mark hasn't thought about it yet. The tailor tells him to take his time. When he has a name, come back and he'll build a suit around it. Days pass. We're back at Mark's school. The bell rings. His teacher asks one of the students to stay after class. After school, Mark heads to his locker to drop off some books. But nearby, at the locker next to his, a bully is harassing one of his classmates. Mark turns and tells him to leave the kid alone. The bully shifts his focus. He gets up in Mark's face, threatens him, and shoves him. Mark is not in the mood for this. He grabs the bully and slams him against the wall, telling him to never mess with anyone again. Right then, the cafeteria attendant walks in and Mark ends up in the principal's office. He explains what happened. The bully was picking on Steve White, the kid with the locker next to his. Mark asked him to stop. The bully shoved him. Mark responded. The principal acknowledges that this kid has a long record of bullying behavior, but Mark doesn't. Mark is a good kid, and he doesn't want to see him getting mixed up with that crowd. Mark assures him he's focused on his studies and has nothing to do with any of this. The principal says everything's fine this time, but next time get a teacher. After all, Mark isn't invincible. And at that moment, Mark finally has the name. Days go by. Another bank robbery. Once the bank manager hands over the safe deposit box they came for, the thieves make a run for it. They tear through the street, shoving everyone out of their way. But when they reach an alley, they've reached the end of the line. Floating in the air above them is Mark, in his new suit. He's already taken their getaway vehicle. The robbers aim their guns and threaten to blow his head off. Mark calmly tells them that's not a great idea, because he is invincible. Now we travel to the past. Several years ago, Omni-Man arrived with his son Mark, who was still a child, but Nolan felt it was time to tell his son the truth. He's been avoiding this conversation for a long time, but the moment has come. It's time for Mark to know who his father really is and where he comes from. He believes his son is finally old enough to hear it. Omni-Man comes from a planet called Viltrum, a cold blue oasis, as he describes it. The people who live there are not entirely unlike humans, though they possess additional abilities. They can fly, move at supersonic speeds, and possess unimaginable strength. Over the centuries, Viltrum built a perfect society. No disease, no murder, no war. A utopia. When they reached the peak of their own civilization, they turned their attention outward. They decided to help other societies across the universe. The council approved the idea unanimously. On Viltrum, a World Progress Committee was formed. Its mission was to find planets at a delicate stage of development. Planets that were still far from reaching their potential, but had every chance of getting there. Once those planets were identified, the people of Viltrum would establish defenses to protect them from threats, natural and artificial alike. With that protection in place, these civilizations could finally flourish. The final step of each mission was to send an ambassador, someone to oversee the development of each civilization. When Omni-Man came of age, he began working with the program. He was part of the research department, searching for and recommending planets that might need assistance. He worked on a mobile unit that traveled from planet to planet. In his third year of service, he discovered Earth and convinced the committee to carry out a physical inspection. During the long journey, Omni-Man used sensors to receive transmissions from Earth. By the time they arrived, he had already fallen in love with the planet. Its inhabitants fascinated him, and the achievements they had managed in such a short time left him in awe. He asked the council for authorization to add Earth to the program. They refused. The planet was too imperfect, too underdeveloped, but Omni-Man refused to accept no for an answer. he decided to stay on Earth on his own. From the moment he began walking among humans, he loved watching them live their lives. It didn't take long for him to realize he had made the right decision, but he also quickly understood that Earth was full of threats. So he made it his mission to help. It was during those adventures that he met Mark's mother. But that's a story for another day. Omni-Man looks at his young son and tells him he knows this is a lot to take in all at once. But Mark is growing up, and things are going to start changing soon. When puberty hits, acne will show up, his voice will crack, hair will start growing in places it never did before, and he may begin developing superpowers, super strength, super speed, flight. He could develop every ability Omni-Man has. Mark sits there completely stunned. The only thing that truly amazes him out of everything he just heard is the idea that someday he might be able to fly. And these are the memories that come back to him now during his teenage years. He can fly, and he does. Mark soars through the night sky with joy, but on this nighttime flight, he notices something strange. Someone is stealing boxes of video games. As a rookie hero, he tries to stop the thief, but the thief lands a hit and sends him flying. Mark doesn't give up. He comes back fast with a counter-strike, but before the fight continues, someone steps in. A team of superheroes. They tell both of them to stop and want to know who started it. The villain grabs one of their motorcycles and hurls it to the ground. The heroes fall into disarray. The villain is about to take advantage of the chaos, but before he can hurt anyone, Mark arrives and puts him to sleep with a single punch. With the villain down, introductions begin. Mark feels like he recognizes one of the members. This team is the Teen Team. Its members: Robot, Adam Eve, Rexplode, and Duplicate. Mark gives them his hero name. He's Invincible. With the formalities done and the villain in custody, the Teen Team clears out. The next morning, Mark confirms what he suspected. Adam Eve goes to his school. She had recognized him too. The two of them share a biology class. Mark is a little worn out from his nights as a superhero. 2 straight months of it now. Eve tells him he'll get used to it eventually, nothing to worry about. After school, Eve invites him to the team's base to continue investigating the previous night's robbery. He accepts. She leads him to a secret spot where both of them change into their suits, and then they take off flying toward the Teen Team base. They don't take long to arrive. Robot is waiting for them. He tells them Kate and Rex are out on another mission, but since they're here, they're going to help him with a plan. He's wiped the villain's memory. The villain, who we now learn is named Mauler, has been left near a toy store. Robot's plan is simple. Mauler wakes up and goes back to his base. That way, Robot can track him and find out what he's been planning. Mauler is exactly as predictable as Robot expected. He heads straight back to his hideout, where the mastermind behind everything is waiting for him. Mauler was supposed to steal those video games because of the powerful processors hidden inside them. They were going to be used to build an army of robots. The heroes have heard enough. They move into Mauler's hideout and shut the whole plan down. The fight is tough, but the heroes don't back down. After a hard battle, both Mauler and the scientist are defeated. Impressed by Invincible's reliability, Robot asks him if he wants to join the team. Mark doesn't think that's a bad idea at all. He asks Robot if it's always this easy. Far away from there, a young man wakes up on a bench in a shopping mall. He feels something cold and metallic on his chest. He pulls up his shirt and finds some kind of timer strapped to him. 1 second left on the clock. The explosion tears through the entire mall. Everyone inside is gone. Back at Mark's school, 3 students have gone missing. The school is cooperating with the police, but so far there are no leads. The principal asks the students to stay calm. Their classmates will turn up, and whoever is responsible will be caught. Mark points out that all 3 missing students were known troublemakers, people who made others miserable. Personally, he's not losing sleep over it. They brought it on themselves. Eve tells him not to talk like that. At least Tom Jefferson wasn't a bad person. Mark fires back that the only reason Tom wasn't mean to her is because she's a girl, and he wanted something from her. Eve makes it crystal clear she's already dating Rex, the other member of the teen team. After that uncomfortable moment passes, Mark walks with Eve to the cafeteria where they keep talking. Eve asks if he's heard about the shopping mall that exploded recently. Robot is trying to track down whoever's behind it, but the bombs were powerful enough to destroy all the evidence. 2 bombs in under 3 weeks, Mark says. Eve invites him to the hideout after school, but Mark has to go to work. Eve finds this surprising. She figured his father was a famous writer and that his family had money. And they do. But his father wants him to work so he learns to be more responsible. Eve heads off saying she hopes to see him soon. The moment she's gone, William appears, asking why Mark's been talking to Eve. Maybe they're dating. Mark assures him she's not his girlfriend. That afternoon at work, Mark is frying potatoes when his boss comes in and pushes him to move faster. Mark can't make things fry any quicker. His boss keeps pushing, not wanting unhappy customers. The argument escalates until Mark reaches his breaking point and simply quits, telling his boss exactly what he thinks of him. But the moment he's heading home, he realizes his father is going to kill him when he finds out he lost the job. That night after dinner, Mark and his father do the dishes together. While washing, his father brings up the job. He makes the argument that now that Mark is an active superhero, he doesn't have to worry about working at a burger joint. He doesn't need the money. Mark exhales in relief. His father couldn't have been more timely. The next day, Mark is getting ready to go out on patrol when his father walks into his room with a proposal. How about they patrol together? They could make a good team. Mark accepts without hesitation. Father and son take to the sky. While they're flying, Mark tries to have a conversation with his father, but every few seconds, Omni-Man breaks off to handle something. An accident here, a crisis there, Mark can barely keep up. Still, his father compliments him. For the time he's been doing this, he's done a very good job. Then Mark spots someone attempting a robbery in the distance. Before he can even finish pointing it out, his father has already handled it. After that, Omni-Man suggests they stop to eat. Over food, Mark asks if his powers will grow as he gets older because right now, keeping up with him is a real challenge. Omni-Man says most likely yes, though it's also possible his powers won't improve at all, and he may never reach Omni-Man's level. Then Omni-Man's communicator goes off, global scale emergency. He disappears and reappears almost instantly. He needs Mark's help. An alien invasion is pouring through a portal. Father and son plunge into battle. The numbers are enormous, but Omni-Man is confident his son can handle it. These, he explains, are soldiers from another dimension. Behind that portal, there are likely hundreds of thousands more troops waiting. Mark asks if he has a plan. His father hasn't thought of one yet. Then, in the middle of the fight, Mark notices the invaders are slowing down. Omni-Man agrees. That's when Mark figures it out. The invaders are aging. Omni-Man concludes that time on Earth moves differently than in their dimension. They're aging at an accelerated rate and dropping fast. Seeing his forces being overwhelmed, Omni-Man's composure snaps. He grabs a tank and hurls it into the invaders, roaring at them to get off his planet. Mark flies close behind his father, telling him to calm down. It's over. Slowly, Omni-Man pulls himself back together. Time to go. On the way home, Mark asks if this kind of thing happens often. Fortunately not, his father says. He also mentions that if they had caught onto the aging earlier, they probably would have called the Guardians of the Globe or Megaforce. Mark is taken aback. Only now does the full weight of what it means to be a hero start to land on him. Suddenly, his father tells him they need to get to a shopping mall. Something is happening there. Omni-Man rockets forward at full speed. Mark barely keeps up, but seconds later he arrives. There he sees his father pulling a teenage boy off a bench. The boy has a metal vest on, just like the one from before. Omni-Man grabs him and demands to know who did this to him. The boy asks what he means, but time is already up. Omni-Man grabs the boy and launches him into the sky. The explosion follows. Mark recognizes him. He was one of the missing students from his school. His father turns and tells him this can only mean one thing. And before he can finish the sentence, a portal opens and swallows him whole. Mark couldn't do anything to stop it. Now he has to go home alone and tell his mother that his father has been taken to another dimension. His mother seems used to this kind of thing. She doesn't panic, not yet. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm Raven Comics, and see you in the next video.